But television really is only the beginning. Take a look at this 1970 Dodge model announcement rotogravure insert. Now, the cover shows the only new entry in the automotive market, the Challenger. Inside, there is dramatic emphasis on the Monaco and Charger. There's a center spread on the Challenger, Dodge Dart, and Coronet. And on the last page, the Dodge truck. All in color and hitting at the right time. Now, for the great outdoors. A 30-sheet poster like this one featuring the Challenger. And plenty of magazine advertising for each car line featuring Dodge material adapted for specific buying segments. So this year, advertising will be able to talk to different kinds of people, setting up their image of themselves to fit their kind of Dodge without sacrificing appeal to any one segment of the market. So from the bottom of the line to the top, they all could be Dodge material.
This is Robert Wolf reporting from the center of the Mopar world for July of 2022, the Chryslers at Carlisle show. For 2022, we rolled into Chryslers at Carlisle to find a near-perfect weather forecast and word that the pre-show pre-entries were trending at an all-time high. Chryslers at Carlisle has been the biggest Mopar show in the world for some time now, but as of yet, to crack the 3,000 show car mark. They were on track to hit that milestone back in 2020, but as everyone knows, the world came to a screeching halt. So I'm here in 2022 to see if Chryslers at Carlisle can set a new benchmark for Mopar shows. And for those of us that grew up in the 80s, we forget Pamela Anderson, we had DC girls, Claudia.
Well, so, we were about cars, yes.
Yeah, so you were our Pamela Anderson back then.
I love that, thank you.
So how did that whole program happen for you with DC? Were you trying to do that, or you just happened into it, or how did that go?
No, I was trying to do it.
Okay.
So I was an actress, mostly TV commercial, industrial film. We're coming from the Motor City, so everything was automotive, pretty much.
Right.
Did a lot of auto show, anywhere from 150 to 174 days out of the year we're traveling with auto show.
Right.
And then I was doing poster, I did Hot Rod Show World,
right.
The whole calendar thing with that, and I became a calendar girl of some sort. Started winning pageants, so I met a lot of people, worked with the agencies, and then the ad agencies picked up on my vibe. I kind of had a special vibe.
Right.
At the time of 1984, it was just before that or around that time, Kelly Harmon was just leaving as the Dodge girl.
Okay.
So the agencies called me and they said, you know what, we might have this thing for you. We're not sure yet, but we might have this thing. And then Direct Connection came about and they said, nope, we're gonna swap you out and we've got something different for you. Met with the ad agencies and it just was a match.
So you guys didn't tour a lot back then with DC, did you?
Oh, we did.
Okay.
We did, let's see, so we did probably about 8 shows a year on the road. And then everything was local. So once again, being out of Detroit, other companies would pick me up, like Gratiot Auto Supply. It's not there anymore. And different companies would pick us up and we'd do a poster signing, or they'd invite us. For a car show. So they kept me pretty busy with Direct Connection.
Well, that's
a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
So, of the memories on the road, what's your fondest memory of doing that program?
Oh, I have a lot.
Okay.
I have a lot.
Okay,
But
tell us the good ones.
Linda Vaughn was one of them because she was always an iconic figure for me.
Absolutely.
Love her, still love her. And then meeting Paul Newman probably, and the whole crew, Mario Andretti. We toured a lot with that group. So Indianapolis was just so much fun. That was one of the bigger deals with all of the big dogs. And just getting to chum around with everybody and getting to know everybody as a family. Honest to God, people still remember me. They come back with their pictures. And it gives me goosebumps in my hair right now just to think I'm so blessed to be here still.
Well, we're talking 30 plus years later. Would you ever think that people would remember you for something you did back then? Isn't that crazy?
Yes, it's crazy. It's wonderful. It's like we're still a big family, honestly.
Yeah. So did you work with Larry Henry at all?
I did.
Yeah, because he was very great. He passed away recently, a year or so ago.
He did. Oh gosh, that man was just my heart, really. He was like, can I say my grandfather, my dad, whatever. He was like, come on, Claudia, let's do this, let's do that, you know, and just kind of prodding me along. Okay, let's go.
For those that don't know, Larry Henry was in Direct Connection, a very integral piece of Direct Connection. He's obviously in the Hall of Fame for Direct Connection.
Yes.
And go look up his history. He's a great guy, and he had all kinds of fun stories about the DC girls and you guys traveling all over the place.
He was a great guy. He was a great guy, and he was kind of the mover and the shaker for us.
Yeah.
You know, Larry Henry, Larry Shepard.
Yeah.
I got to meet Carol Shelby. That was another iconic moment. He was super nice and super cool. We did some photos with him.
Yeah. So where did you shoot the iconic cover for the DC? I guess it wasn't a calendar, the cover for the DC
poster?
the catalog,
The
and the
poster?
poster. Did you do the catalog or just the poster?
Yeah, I think most of it was at Boulevard Photographic, I think. I can't remember.
Okay.
You know, different places, different times. Some things were on locations. Some were right at the ad agency or where the wardrobe was housed, because we did jackets and we did shirts and sometimes with parts, so it depends.
So did you get to choose the wardrobe? Linda always said that she actually made some of her dresses. Did you get to choose what you wore, or did they tell you what to wear?
Well, you know, some of the girls got a outfit, like a racing suit, and for whatever reason, I never did.
Okay.
So I gave them some pieces that they embroidered for me.
Okay.
So we had the spandex pants, kind of like these, but it had Direct Connection on them. We have them in the RV.
But you were still involved in the whole look, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, they gave you an image, what they wanted you to look like, and pretty much based on what you were looking at the previous. It was easy.
Right.
It was easy.
Right. So Claudia, we're going to have you on an upcoming issue of MCG. So everybody look for that. It's going to be cool to get you in print again. That's going to be wonderful.
It is.
Is there any chance of doing a DC reunion with all the girls in the future? Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be so much fun, because I'm sure the stories would be off the charts.
It would.
Honestly.
We need to do that at one of these shows. Get everybody together and just have a weekend of everybody telling stories. And wouldn't that be awesome?
Let's do it.
Oh, we got to do it at Carlisle for next year, right?
That was something. I'm sure they would be
We're not going to make any
too.
promises, but we're going to talk to Ed B and see if we can make that happen for next year. How about that? All right, it's a pleasure meeting you.
It's so nice to meet you.
All right, Ralph, I love these hubcaps here. Tell me a little bit about these.
Yep, so the hubcaps, you can never get them on a Plymouth in 68. You couldn't get them on any Plymouth. They were a parts counter only.
Okay.
And they came out in 67 and 68.
Right.
So what happened was, if the dealer had a dog dish car or a plain car, a regular hubcap car, they popped them off for $5.73. You get these four. They come to $22, $23, and they pop them on there for you.
And they're real easy to find now, right?
They are not easy to find. The front two, I was at the Nationals,
right?
And I bought them, and they've been sitting in my garage, and then I bought the car in 2014, restored it, and I says, this is what I want in the car. Well, the back one, that one, it was over the river and through the woods of New Hampshire to find that one, and the other one I found at the Nationals 2 years ago. I found the last one, so very hard to find, kind of different, so that's why I did it.
Cool, thank you, Ralph.
You got it.
This is Alan Gallant, and Alan has been a friend of ours since Englishtown, what year?
88, I think.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time, and he was an enthusiast when we met him, and then he started a car shop, and he's up in the great Northeast Canada area. How has it been during lockdown? This is the first time you guys have really been back out since then, right?
Yeah, so as we know, the border's been locked down for 2 years now, so we're so glad to get back down to the Carlisle here. I mean, it's a great show. As from a business perspective, I've been spending thousands of dollars extra in shipping costs getting all my parts shipped to Canada.
But you haven't stopped doing it, right?
No.
So you guys are just digging in, right?
It's actually busier than ever. I mean, the restoration hobby, you talk to anyone down here or in Canada, just swamped. Busy.
So is most of your business coming from Canada, or is it coming from the U.S.?
Lately, it's all been from Canada due to the border issues.
Because you've been closed in, so you kind of been locked down.
Yeah, nobody can get across the border, right?
Right.
Before the pandemic, you know, it was about 50-50.
Right.
Now it's strictly Canadian customers right now, yeah.
So in the past, Alan, we've done a lot of numbers matching cars from you, and that was really kind of your specialty in the last, what, 10 years or so? You really dug into that.
Yeah, so I've been restoring OE cars for, forever, right out of high school, right? It's almost 40 years now. But I just I've had customers asking and requiring about this eXoMOD stuff, so it's kind of made my business have to pivot, and I really enjoy it. Actually, it's a freedom that you know, you don't get with the OE stuff, right? There's no rules here.
Right, there are no rules, and a lot of people go astray because they've never been in the Mopar world before and they put goofy Chevrolet stuff on it. Now you've kind of kept this really true to form, and tell me about a little bit what you've done with this car.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, I have kept a lot of the OE stuff on there, so you'll see like the proper platings on the latches and the wiper motor, whatnot, all the little details of fender tags and emission stickers and stuff.
Right.
Yet, so the overall appearance is of an OE car,
right.
but the, you know, the heart of it is all modern. So it has a brand new crate 392,
right.
Tremec 5-speed from Silver Sport. It has RMS front and rear suspension, Dakota digital dash, aftermarket seats, whatnot.
So it's as close to a new car without cutting the body off of an old car and putting it on a new car as you can get, right?
I haven't gone that far yet.
I know, but this is close without doing that,
yeah,
correct?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it handles like a new car. It's drives beautiful, runs beautiful. Yeah.
So you even have a fender tag made for it that
yeah, so
kind of cool.
You know, there's so many of enthusiasts that the first thing they look at is your fender tag when they come up to your car. And this weekend I've seen people actually taking pictures of it, and it probably won't be until they get home that they realize that I made the tag. It says, you know, 392 5-speed.
Right.
It says eXoMOD, and it, you know, and it has my agar on there with the year and stuff. So yeah, it's just a neat little trick I did.
Cool. So you plan on doing more of these? Are you open for doing them for customers? Here in the States.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have done a 71 Challenger for a customer last year, and I'm doing a 70 Charger for a customer right now, and I got another CUDA lined up. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to anything. I mean, and I'm still doing the OE stuff on the side, at the same time.
Yeah.
Too,
so really, the hobby has just opened up into everything now. To me, this show was about diversity. I mean, you had rat rods, you had vans, you had A100s, you had old cars, you had the eXoMOD, you had OE stuff. It's really blossoming into quite the, you know, spectacle.
Yeah, and that's what makes the hobby so great.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been around a long time, and you almost get tired of seeing the same old cars after a while, but you know, this is the latest craze, the eXoMOD, and there's some beautiful ones here this weekend for sure.
Yep. So where do people find you?
Well, they can check out my website, which is AlanGallantAutomotiveRestoration.com. I've got about 50 cars on there they can look at, and I'm up in Canada right next to Toronto, so...
Okay, you're not that far away?
No, not that far away.
All right. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
eXoMODs, like you just saw, have been gaining popularity over the last half dozen or so years. This year I found a company poised to take that trend of new meets old to the next level. What you've done is most guys over the last 5 or 7 years have taken these cars, cut them up, and kind of put them together into a new car, old car thing. But you guys have perfected it into an end product that they don't have to build. That's what I understand you doing.
Exactly.
That's what the eXoMOD is.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
We actually do conversions on people's, you know, Challengers 2011 and up, and we also build complete cars, turnkey.
So this piece here is carbon fiber, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if they already have a car, technically they could call you and say, hey, I don't want this normal Hellcat that everybody else has got.
Exactly.
I want this Charger body on it.
We can do the conversion
and you can
for
do
it.
it. How long does that take?
About 6 weeks.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
So do you have the complete, all the body panels are in stock? They're all ready to go?
They're in stock, ready to go.
Okay.
Team is eager to work.
And if someone wants to do this, where do they have to get the car to?
They have to get the car to our shop in northwestern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Mercer County, PA.
Okay. And roundabout budget?
$275 for the conversion.
And that's if they have the car.
That's if they have the car.
Now you'll also go out and purchase a car and build the whole thing brand new for them, correct?
Yes, we will.
Does that come with a warranty?
It does.
What is it warranty?
It comes with the factory Dodge warranty.
Okay. What about the body panels themselves?
Body panels, I personally warranty.
Okay, so if anything were to be a manufacturer's defect, you've got it covered.
We stand behind it.
Yep,
100%.
cool. So right now you've got a Charger here. From what I understand, you're going to do a Daytona next?
Correct.
Okay.
So we're going to launch that at SEMA in
Okay,
November.
so we're going to be there to see that, so that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Is there any non-B-body cars that you're thinking about doing?
We're thinking about doing a 71 A-body that's 71 Demon.
Well, that's off the wall because A-bodies aren't usually this crazy.
No, they're not.
So
It's funny, we've been getting, everybody sees the sign of our future models. Interestingly, that Demon seems to be the most popular one people are latching onto.
You know,
Because people really don't do them pro touring. They don't take them to the next level.
well, believe it or not, a Demon is probably harder to find than a Hemi
is.
Cuda. You know,
It
a
is
good
way
one.
harder to
Yeah,
find. You're
exactly.
right.
You know, so that's really crazy. They don't bring the money, but they're
No.
a lot harder to find a good one.
They sure are.
Yeah. So the next show that this is going to be at is where?
The next show this will be at, we may go to the Mopar Nationals on our way to California.
Okay.
And we're doing the Pebble Beach kickoff party
Okay.
at the Jet Center in Monterey with Wayne Carini.
So what you got to do is you got to come out and see this car because pictures really don't do it justice.
don't.
They
You
don't.
have to see it in
yeah, they
person.
got to see it in person. And are you guys ever going to do test drives in these things?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So if you're interested in getting one, you'll take them for a ride and show
Absolutely.
them how they work.
Absolutely, we'd love to.
All right, this is a fantastic concept, and we really think this is the future of new Mopars. As they stop making the new ones, you can still get, you know, a new old one. That's going to be
can.
really cool. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Keith Wallard here. His dad ordered this Challenger new. Come over here. You're the current owner, correct?
right.
What's your name?
Jerry Otterbein.
And you call it the Wallard,
Wallard
Challenger? Well,
Yes,
that's
because
wonderful to have the lineage.
As the stories go, this car was the car to beat in northern New Jersey in the early 70s.
Was it really?
Yeah. The motor was, you tell the story, Keith. You tell better than I do. About this 750 horsepower motor.
426, 14-to-1, Lenati roller cam.
Right.
Brake booster out by the radiator support.
Right.
Because you had to pull the valve covers off the chest of the latch
Right.
on the lifters. 410 rears were usually 430s. It used to have N5015s on the back and L6015s on the front. It was changed from an automatic to a 4-speed, and it was only street raced.
Okay.
It was never wrecked. The only two spots that were rotted were the quarter panels in the back where the batteries were, because the battery had to be reloaded to the back of the car.
And your
trunk extension.
and your dad bought a brand new or bought it used?
Brand new 69 in December.
Okay, so he wanted a Challenger, or he just
Well, we traded in a 1967 Cornet RT 440 4-speed, two
Okay.
fours, because he used to pull an 18-foot racing car behind the back of that.
Okay, and he's decided this is going to be his new race car.
That's what he told my mom. But Mom said no, and we ended up getting it anyway.
Now, how old were you during this time period?
He got it in 70, so I was only 6.
Okay, so you have fond memories, I'm sure.
Very fond memories
Yeah.
of working and playing and wrenching, and even scratch mark on it from my Schwinn bike on the back of the tail light. No, there's a scratch on the back of the,
Is there?
yeah, where I showed
Very
him.
fine. You can still
Okay,
see it.
I'll have to get some pictures of that too.
Yeah.
So,
My fondest memory is sitting in the back seat, hanging on for dear life. My father used to power shift out at 9,500 RPM and just stop the clutch and go.
yeah, it's a little brutal.
Yeah, a little brutal.
Now, you have pictures of it when your dad had it with your dad, or anything of that left over?
Just the motor.
Just a motor. picture I
Okay.
sent him.
And you found the car how?
So it actually showed up on Facebook Marketplace 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it was over in New Jersey, and it was in a Connex box. The restoration had been started, and the owner that I bought it from, his brother-in-law had a restoration shop, and so the car was a shell. It was on dollies, and right before assembly, the brother-in-law passed away.
Okay.
So the owner I bought it from had put it in a Connex box, closed the doors in '91, and decided 4 years ago to get rid of it.
Okay. So, and you remembered it from being a kid and watching a street race, or?
No.
Okay.
I love the stories. The stories of the car are fascinating. There's a fellow by the name of Dan Foley that used to write for Hot Rod Magazine.
Right.
He's got a 67 Cornet RT.
Okay.
Dark red automatic.
Okay.
But he grew up 2 doors down, and the stories he tells are fascinating. He said one night him and a buddy were in a 14-second, I think it was a Duster, and they pulled up alongside Al, and he said to me, he says, Jerry, the only way I can describe it is he was just gone. That's how good he
So this car has been a bad influence for many years, is what
Yes,
you're saying
yes.
here.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the second owner.
Okay.
So the second owner raced it at Englishtown.
Okay.
And I have eyewitnesses that have verified that. It was a fast car even then. It was a 10.5-second car. And it had a body-colored beige T8 hood on it. And then probably around 79, 1980, he reconverted it back to a street car.
Okay.
And then sold it. I think Hemi values had started to go up even back then.
Yeah, couldn't ignore that.
And it's interesting talking to the previous owners, what they paid for it, what they sold it for, and how the prices just continued to go up. Even back then, they were still special cars.
So is it original paint on that car still?
No.
No, it's been painted?
It's been completely restored, ground-up restoration, rotisserie, and Carolina Classics did the restoration on it. I couldn't be happier with it.
Chrysler at Carlisle has long been known as being the go-to place to buy hard-to-find Mopar parts for your Mopar. This year there was a rare opportunity to not only buy parts, but to purchase a thriving Mopar Parts business. Tony D'Agostino, you're probably one of the most prolific reproducers in the country now. You're producing everything from exhaust manifolds to brackets, and now you're going to retire.
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time, and I'd love to see the business get carried on, and it's a great opportunity.
Right.
It's so easy to run all the reproduction stuff. Most of the business is a good part of it is wholesale accounts, which is very easy to deal with. And most of the rest of it comes from our online store, web store and the website, or eBay store sales. So it doesn't require that much time to spend on the phone, and everything has its descriptions and large inventory, a lot of tooling, and it's a very profitable business. The last 2 years have hands down been by far our best years.
Yeah, so Tony's not retiring because it's not a good business. Tony's retiring because he's tired.
Yeah.
How old are you now, Tony?
I'll be 59 next month.
And how long have you been doing this shit?
I've been doing this since my mid-teens.
Yeah, all of us have.
Exactly,
you're a little older than me.
And I want to enjoy the last years because I saw this one time thing that says, get a tape measure. And figure most people live just say to 80 years old.
Right.
And go an inch for every year. So here's 60 inches, and I got this little bit left. So I want to retire and kick back. Of course, I'll be happy to stay on as a consultant and help. I just don't want to devote the time that I am right now.
Well, my concern is we don't lose the reproduction parts, and we're seeing that a lot with guys that are getting over 60, and we're losing them quick. And if we lose these parts, we're going to lose the ability to build cars. So it's important to get to a good guy that's going to take over and going to be a passionate person about bringing these parts to market and keeping them out there.
Yep.
So Tony, you're the only guy I know that's going to California. Everybody else is moving out. So that's your plan, is to go sit on the beach?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm staying the furthest south in California is the least craziest part of the state.
Right.
Leave it at that without getting too political. But pretty much, and we torture ourselves, me and my wife Cindy, by watching the weather out there. And most days you could bet on highs are going to be in the mid-70s and lows going to be in the low to mid-60s.
Well, you've been in Delaware all your life, right?
No, in 95. I moved to Delaware in 95 when I was 32 years old. I lived in upstate New York, Orange County area.
Okay.
And we had a lot more winters. Delaware is much more mild for winters, but you have a lot of heat in the summer. And even though it's mild winters, you're still not going to go out and enjoy your old cars or ride on a motorcycle.
Right.
So pretty much year-round, you can enjoy your toys, and I'll have more time to enjoy them too. But you're limited. I have spring and fall, and I miss riding the bikes or taking out the old cars because I'm just not into proving myself on 90-degree or 80-degree humidity weather pace. I'm past that.
So we see you a lot on Graveyard Cars with Mark. Are you going to continue to do that even though you sell the business?
Well,
you're going to be closer to him out there.
It'd be twofold really. If somebody buys the business and they continue to deal, which is a great deal with Mark, I can continue my appearances on the show promoting the business, which has
built-in advertising.
Oh my gosh. If you stayed here all weekend, every other person mentions the show they see. It's the best exposure you can get. A Mopar show that's on almost every week.
Right.
So it's done great for the business, and that can continue. And even if that doesn't for some reason, Mark's dying to have me come out there. So probably close to a week, a month, I'll be up there doing stuff.
Cool. So if someone wants to purchase a business, how do they go about getting started? Contacting you and working through the.
Get a hold of me and I'll walk you through it. Just need some money because we have a huge inventory, a large amount of tooling, and the parts can be continually made. It's not something that looking for a rare part of the swap meet.
Right.
We make the parts, so they're not rare. You just need to place the order, wait for them to get produced, and have them transported.
But you've got a ton of inventory too, so it's not like you got an instant
Oh no.
outflow of cash. I mean, you got a good inventory built up.
Yeah, big inventory, big customer base. You know, the web store phone number. I mean, we've been at the same phone number for, geez, 27 years now.
All right, what's the website?
Tony'sParts.com.
If they want to call you?
On Tony'sParts.com, or you could dial 302-398-0821.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Rob.
For 2022, the show added a new section for collectible Mopar-related items like bicycles, water skis, advertising material, and of course, toys. I'm really looking forward to seeing this grow in years to come. All right, this is John Yost. He's the mastermind behind this new Paul Rossi model. You said $5,000 for exhaust?
Yes, sir. They have the custom exhaust made to suit the car properly.
So do you start off with a pre-existing Challenger model and have it enhanced is what you do, or how does that work?
Correct. This is a 1970 drag version of the Challenger.
Right.
And in order to get the proper exhaust for Paul's car, we needed to have the tooling done. And since it was such a interesting part of the car and so obvious when he was pulling those giant wheelies, it was important to have that captured.
Right. So how did you decide to do this piece?
To be honest with you, I reached out to Paul through his email address and said I'd like to do it. He was completely flattered because no one had ever made his car before.
Right.
And that's what started this whole thing. He introduced me to Butch Leal and then introduced me to Arnie Klan of the Mopar Missile. We've got them all signed up now.
So this is just the start of something bigger.
This is number
then.
one.
Yes.
This is the first of many.
Okay.
A couple of our prototypes are down at the end here. We've got Butch Leal's altered wheelbase car with the injected version. We've got a ramp truck. This has never been made before. This has been made previously, but nowhere near the detail that this is. This is the Revell version of his super stock car, which has never been previously released.
Right.
And then this is Paul's 68 CUDA that will be coming out around November, December.
So price range for these things, how do they range?
$179.95 is our retail price.
So that would be for the truck and then additional for the car?
Correct, yes sir, for each piece. Yeah.
Right.
And everything is fully licensed. The trademarks and anything that's registered is all, we've got their permission to use them. And I have contracts with each of these people so that everybody knows this is all legitimate.
Is this a limited production?
It is, but I'm a little bit different on limited production. I don't want to make more than people will take, but I don't want people fighting over these and having to pay $300 or $400 to get them. I don't think that's fair.
So you kind of got to pedal that a little bit,
yeah,
right?
So I've been in the collectibles industry for over 30 years, so I understand the need for it to be limited, but also the need for it to be available.
So how can guys find you and find this?
DesktopMuscleCars.com is our website, and also our Facebook page, and that would be the best way to stay on top of what's going on.
Go check it out, guys. It's some really nice stuff.
Thanks very much.
So I'm here today with Paul Rossi. Paul, you are the rock star of the show this year. I mean, your car out there, everything's really cool, and everybody's loving seeing you out here. Because you're like Mr. Direct Connection, and they're bringing Direct Connection back. So tell me about how you got involved in that Direct Connection program.
From the beginning, well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure and an honor. And it's great to have a second bite of the apple. So I got started with that program back in 1972 with the Dave Kofel and Larry Shepard, and we got started with my Hemi CUDA. That was an A9 or a RO29 car, and ran that until the World Finals in 1975. And we were Super Stock champion, world champion runner-up. And at that point, they decided that they wanted to change horses, and got me running asked me to come in and run a 440. And I was 100% against it. And I didn't want the deal. And they kept pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling, and finally I ended up accepting the deal because they would pay for the chassis work and give me a car, and we had a budget, a small budget, to race to do the clinics. So with that whole program, I took the deal.
And what year are you talking about there?
1976.
Okay. So that was the end of the program era, I would assume?
No, that was 1976 was the beginning of my Challenger.
Okay.
75 I had the Hemi CUDA, the registered serial number car.
Okay.
And then they stopped helping the Hemis. In other words, giving major support to the Hemis because the parts were run around.
And
they made them in 1970 until 1971, and the shelves were getting kind of empty. But the 440 stuff that was sitting there wasn't going anywhere. They were not competitive at the time. There were two big teams running them, our teams, and they hadn't done anything to speak of. And so I thought the teams are pretty good, and I didn't want the program because they're struggling. I'm at the top of the 1975 Superstock food chain. I'm running 970, 138 miles an hour, and that's fast in 1979. Sorry, 1974. I was at the top of the Superstock food chain. I was the fastest car in Superstock ever at that point. In HRA legal, torn down, certainly. Okay. I'm sure people have gone as fast, but not in those conditions. And so I'm really happy with my performance, and at that point I have the first ever use of a active intake manifold. It had moving parts in the manifold. That's one of the things that got the car into this new era.
Now, how did you figure out how to develop that?
That's a good question, Rob. Because the Diamond Engine was modifying our intake manifolds as per Chrysler engineers, and the more that they made on a A990 manifold, the more that we changed the intake, the interconnect, and made the interconnect bigger. There was a plenum and a plenum, right? This piece that side, that piece. Okay. As the interconnect got bigger, Diamond kept porting it out and actually started making little houses and extending the interconnect until it got to the full length of the manifold. So now we had a plateau, and the whole interconnect was, by the time I put that in my car and we got to that point, every time I made that interconnect larger, bigger, more volume, the bigger the plenum, the more the engine thinks the car has bigger carburetors. So it made more top end power, but it killed the bottom. I noticed it kept killing my torque. So I decided that if I could close the intake interconnect mechanically and then open it up at the high end, I had all the bottom end I want and all the top end. Pretty simple when you think about it, didn't it? Nobody had gone there. So I constructed a butterfly, the full length of that. Now the first one I made, I started up and I made a run with it. It broke it. So I had to go back and beef it up and put bearing in the center and do all that stuff. Well, I got that all done, and the first time I actually ran it in competition was the World Finals. The car was sensational. It had bottom end torque. I had Marv Ripes from A1 Transmission come up and say, "The car's exploding off the starting line." I go, "I know, right?" And he said, so I mean, I'm just going and we're flying. So, I mean, Mullins had the station wagon, Pontiac had never been beat. I got Mullins, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? So, man, at the end, I got him. I nipped him. So I'm in the final, me and Bernie Agnew. So we roll up to the final and I said, man, I got a shot here. And at the starting line, everything was fine, and I was the A car, so he took off first, and then I left. And when I left, it broke the A pillar. There's so much torque that we weren't allowed to tie the cars together in those days. And it just twisted apart. And at the end of the quarter mile, I had 4 inches of air over the windshield. I was trying to make a convertible out of a RO29 car.
It's good for aerodynamics.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was really good. So I pulled around and we went through tech and all that. And can we move around a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, I'm over in tech, and I get Farmer Dispute, and I said, Bill, give me a minute. He said, yeah, Paul, what's up? I said, well, listen, take a look at this. And I reached in there and I lifted up this, and the windshield, and the thing went 4 inches over the windshield. He goes, oh, my name's going to get hurt.
Right.
I'll fix that. So that was 1976. You could tie the cars together.
Cool.
So that's when my new Challenger came out. Butler had it, and we built the first Superstock all tied together for that. Okay. But that's for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you got to the direct connection side of things, and I wanted you to run the 440.
Right. So, but you know, going back. So now going forward, I go in and I'm real happy. We're flying, and I'm waiting for. Oh boy, hey boss, I did good, right? Come on. And so he goes, yeah, you did really good. We did so good. We're going to take you out of that Hemi. I go, what do you mean? What? He said, and they proposed this 440 program. I go, oh, no, I don't know about that. I said, That's a station wagon engine. Come on, guys. Don't we? Well, it's the biggest engine. Bortman's got a 383. Judy's got a 360. I mean, come on, it's the biggest thing we got. No, we have a Hemi. Yeah, but we're not paying for that anymore. So anyway, as I said, backtracking a little bit, we pushed and pulled and finally got the deal because it came with clinics, and I worked with Butch Leal on that. So we did the clinics, and that's what got the car out there. But the main reason that car started, you know, making some noise is the fact that it made so much torque. And Rob, the main deal that helped our car out is I was able to make more torque because we had stupid little cylinder heads, and they wouldn't flow near as well as a Cobra Jet or a big box Chevy. We didn't have that. We couldn't out horsepower, but we could make this tremendous amount of torque. On top of that, 60 over, 4.375 bore, you get 452. You got it sucking through 350 CFM 2-barrel. I had to take the accelerator pump off because it almost was like fuel injection. Right. And it was the velocity was so fast. Well, it was instant on. Right. So that car, without a trans brake and all, which I don't even think we had them back then, without a trans brake with anything, that car would just, that torque, if you could hook it, would carry you all the way through first gear.
Well, your Challenger hooked really good. Who did the suspension on that car?
Oh, Ron Bubb.
Is he the best?
He did the entire car. No, at the time, no, there was nothing closer.
Okay, so he was the best at the time.
He was the best at the time. Yeah, we did a lot of monkey business in the bottom, but it was still two super stock springs and a snubber. Remember, I just come off a 970 for the A car, so put the same stuff back in there. No ladder bars. I don't want any of that.
Well, I remember the Challenger on the cover of Direct Connection.
Yeah,
stood up.
Yeah.
That's an iconic picture.
That was the whole thing, and the reason it did was part of that. You know that smoky burnout stuff that we did. Yeah. I mean, that was like you had to do that. Right. Okay, so the key here is to get the tires as hot as you could in the little bit of time that they allowed you at the starting line. Take that heat, go right to the starting line, park the first light on, and let that heat, and get as much time as you could before you turn the next one on, let that heat go in and vulcanize the tire to the rubber on the tire. And as soon as you hit the throttle, wham, the tire didn't stay. Cool. And that's what, but it was a little bit, tough to drive because it just want to come up, want to come right up on that. So we did everything we could. Buster, I pushed him as much as I could, God bless him, and God rest his soul. I never stayed straight. I always tried to get the two wheels so I could have a little space for the guard beam. Right. You know, normally guys make a car and they put one wheel behind the other one to give you more. Well, we did a little bit of that as much as you could, and then I also would stage the car to try to get a little extra because I could red light really easy. Yeah. So that was pretty tough to drive, and but it was a lot of fun. Boy, was that car fun! Because you didn't see anything for the first, and that was the way the car went all the time. Yeah. If you didn't hook it, it would go.
Well, you better hope it goes straight, right?
Yeah. God, don't turn the wheel. Yeah. Please, God, don't turn the wheel.
You brought here to Carlisle the 71, correct? 70. Okay, so the original car was built in 76.
That's correct.
And it went to Sweden, as you say. Have you followed
1980.
Do you know where the car is now?
I do. Okay. I know that it's in Sweden, and but let me tell you, it was sold to a custom car magazine in 1980. As soon as I posted it on National Dragster, within 24 hours, they bought it. And they had planned to give it to Sylvia Hauser to drive for them in their name. They sponsored her about the car and all that. Right. She came over here. I taught her and her husband Jeff, the ins and outs of the car. So they took it back. So and then I never saw the car again, except I see it on the internet nowadays because there is internet.
Right.
And,
so we know it still exists.
Yeah, it still exists, and it's painted back in my format or my livery. I understand still, and it's in Sweden.
Okay. So now you've built a reproduction of that, a recreation. What do you call this?
Number 2 car.
Number 2 car.
Yeah, number 2 car. And this is better, and it's built by Phil and Tony Mondell at PHR.
Okay. Yeah. Now, did you build it in the spirit of the old car, or to the letter of the old car? Or how would you say you built it?
The theme of it, or the flavor of it, is a 1976. Okay. So I'm trying to do everything like 1976. I'm really glad you asked that question because I'm trying to make that car, let me use the word, have the same personality. Okay. So I have the 9-inch J converter, I have the turbo action transmission, the lightweight drum, and the 277 first gear. I have a 512 rear axle, and it's a Dana 60. I have 2 super stock springs and a snubber, but it's all better stuff. Mondelez makes some wonderful race cars, and we've got a adjustable snubber to the nth degree. I mean, the car is the best race car I've ever had.
So is it going to be a race car?
Yes, it is.
Are you going to run it?
I can't say at the moment. Someone's going to run it. Someone's going to run it. Probably my first option is going to be Tony Mandela. He's really a good driver.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have him, do all the stuff. Straighten it out, do the chassis work and get it going, and then I want to take a few passes in it, but I want him to do that. And if we feel it's competitive, so basically it's got a 76 engine, right? Of those specs.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means it's got a 750 lift cam, a 286 500 on a 108. I got that camshaft, and it was donated by one of the shops, and Dale Meeks, and we have Harlan Chop rockers, we have the Holly carburetors, we have the old P member intake manifold.
All right.
So it's basically back to the way it was in '76.
Okay, I want to ask you about the manifold. So you see these manifolds, it's a 6-pack tonal ram, basically is what it is, correct?
Yeah.
You see them at swap meets, you look at them, you're like, that's not going to work. Did it work? Did that tonal ram make a lot of power?
Oh, it made a lot of torque.
Okay.
It made a lot of torque.
Okay.
Yeah. See, there's difference.
Yeah,
See, so
absolutely.
that's the difference. You see, I built those Hemis back since the '60s, and what I discovered is if you could hook the torque or make the torque,
right,
and you could hook it, you go fast.
Right.
So when I got to the 440, you didn't have horsepower on the top end.
Right.
You're done at 6,200.
So you got to make it all low.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to. But if you make that suds down low,
yeah,
and if you can hook it, you can go fast.
Right.
So it took racing the car, and I asked the Chrysler people. I said, I need to get that car because I'm wasting a lot of time going up. And they said, if you touch that car, we're going to have a fit. And I said, why? He said, because I know you don't know this, but when you go to the starting line, this is 45 years ago. Exactly. He said, we're in the show business, Rossi.
Yeah, you want to race.
Yeah, you're racing. Yeah. I said, if you touch that car, we're going to kill you. So I said, what? And I got to tell you, with the bottom of my heart, I didn't realize. I mean, I'm getting some accolades and signing autographs. I didn't sign an autograph in my life until the last 5 years. I just didn't. I just raced. And the adulation is that car. That car is the celebrity, not me. I'm just an old man. And so I didn't realize how iconic that car is. That car is one of the most iconic cars on the planet. That car did not, you see cars that are milestone cars, Don Gartless, rear engine drag style. This 440 wasn't competitive anywhere until that car came along. That car did not move the needle, that car was the needle. And so, and that changed everything.
So you don't want to hear this, but when I was a kid, 78 is when I got into drag racing.
Okay.
And that car right there.
That was right there.
That was right there.
That was pretty good car.
Yeah. You were very much.
You're hauling the mail.
The reason that I do what I do.
Oh, really?
But your direct connection catalog. Yeah. So you're the bad influence.
I'm humble. Thank you.
But yeah, the car is terribly iconic.
Yeah. And now it's really become the face of the old direct connection. Well, the classic or whatever.
Yeah.
They call it.
Well, they have the new direct connection coming out now.
Well, that's different. Those are popular guys.
Yeah, but without you, they wouldn't do that. So I mean, that's. I mean, you guys forged the way for that. So that's what a lot of people don't understand.
I hope
Without the history,
it's
there's
felt
no
that way.
future. So you know that. So
I know, but sometimes there's a lot of new thinking in the corporations today.
So there's always new thinking, but it always, to have an iconic brand, you have to have a history. And that's
it is a pretty good foundation.
Yeah.
And at the last Bible, before they went to Mopar Performance and broke that book up into little books.
Oh, I loved it when you say, I want to run 9 seconds, want to run 10 seconds.
Yeah,
you follow a little formula.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
I don't know why they don't do that now.
I mean, we will if we get a chance.
Yeah.
And I know the guys have their heart in the right place, and I really know that that stay tuned. I think good things are coming. I really do. And and the future, we got some electric to think about.
Right.
I'm sure we'll end up like the Ford guys did a electric crate package.
Right.
It sold out in days.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's going to be
It's a brave new world.
That's right. And one of the things I hear, especially at this place, they're selling steel beams for $50 and $100 because they're right vintage.
Right.
Well, I'm all for that if that's what you're doing. But there's another side of this, just a good old-fashioned hot rod. And those are the kind of parts you don't have to pay Grand Theft Auto for. You could get them at Direct Connection.
There's different levels. I mean,
That's
you
right.
can start
It's
the
good
hobby
for
and you can
everybody.
build up and
That's
you can
right.
find your own way through it,
Right.
which is cool for everybody.
Cool for everybody, yeah. And Mopar muscle cars are alive and well.
Yeah. All right. So on a personal level, I was on stage with you the other night, and you looked at Herb McCandless, and you said that you were older than Herb, and I did not believe that. So tell me how old you are.
80.
That's amazing.
Is
So,
it really?
Living in California is good.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you know.
I would have never guessed 80. Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 80.
I hope when I'm 80, I'm half as healthy as you.
Well, you know, never know. You know, God's got to be good to you.
Yeah.
So I've never had a beer in my life.
Oh, well, I've had plenty.
Yeah, I've never had a beer. I don't drink alcohol at all.
Have you ever smoked?
No, no, never smoked. I did, but I'm around a lot of chemicals. You know, and all
Yeah,
this stuff
that's
on my
not
life.
good.
That's not really good.
Yeah.
And so, I take 2 full-size aspirins a day, 325 milligrams each. That's 650 a day. They say take 80. I take 650 every day for 40 years.
Yeah. You got good genes. You're just blessed.
Well, I hope
that
so.
helps.
My mom had nice skin when she was old.
How long did she live?
80, 83, 82.
We got to have you some more years. So you
I
gotta
hope
hang
so.
in there.
I hope so, everybody. You know. But I'll tell you, I'm working. I'm keeping up with this thing is keeps you young.
That's good. That's good. We got to have you for some more
It's
years.
a pleasure
Thank you so
talking to
much.
you. You're
Thanks
so
for
bright.
taking the time.
You're so smart.
And looking forward to seeing that car around.
Thank you for asking intelligent questions. Hope you enjoyed that all and found it interesting.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
It is quite literally impossible to show you everything that's going on at Chrysler at Carlisle on this show report. So if you've never been to Carlisle, I highly suggest you put it on the bucket list for next year. There were so many cool cars to see, but this 55 300 eXoMOD was both my favorite modern motivated Mopar and my pick for best of show. As for my favorite unrestored survivor, it had to be this 440 plus 6 Cuda that was brought back from the country of Bahrain. For features on these cars and many others from this show, make sure you have a subscription to the only Mopar magazine that matters, Mopar Collector's Guide. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe to Mopar TV button. It's absolutely free to you and will help us continue to do more videos like this one.
Well, that's a wrap for Carlisle. We'll see you next month in MCG.